Well, I pulled over for a little walk. Been driving all day. I must say I've been in a real sense of tug of war over YouTube channel. The very thing I'm going to post this little blurb on. Do I go all in on a YouTube channel? I do have a YouTube channel. I've posted this off-grid property that we worked on over the past 2 years, it feels like. And it was fun, but I kind of just filmed myself, did a little rough editing, posted, didn't optimize it, didn't monetize, have a very, very little following, barely any subscribers. But our family is in the midst of a very, very big relocation and change of lifestyle. We're leaving the city of Vancouver to move to a 5-acre farm over on Vancouver Island. And it's going to be crazy. It's a working kind of vegetable farm thing. There's animals, there's buildings I want to convert, there's Airbnbs I want to set up, and there's a potential to have a successful YouTube channel as a side hustle, because I still run a business here in Vancouver, and that'll be a challenge too, which I will be interested in talking about throughout as it goes. And wow, it's just beautiful. Look at the mountains. You can barely see them. It's snow-covered mountains here in Vancouver. For all its faults, Vancouver is the most beautiful backdrop you'll ever see, especially when the snow is coming and it's clear. So where was I? So there's the option there. I kind of picture it like you're sitting on top of oil. Your house is on top of oil, but you don't know how to drill. You either could live and die sitting on top of that oil, and the next person that comes behind you might drill it, or no one might drill it, but you're sitting on this potential gold mine, but you don't know how to drill. And I know for sure I can talk to a camera, no problem. I can do work, I can film myself, but editing, optimizing, that part does not excite me at all. And one of the things I'm struggling with the most is my drivers. Am I afraid of the technical side of it and getting used to editing software? Am I afraid of that? And so I'm making an excuse for myself to run away from that challenge. That's one way of looking at it. And some people might say, just dive in and do it. Or this other side of me is like, I had this push-pull with very creative things. Like when I was a musician, it triggered a 15-year struggle with insomnia, because there was trauma going on in my life as well, but this creativity where music, you basically had the means to be very successful if you worked hard enough and wrote good enough songs and poised yourself in the right spot. And that amount of opportunity, there was endless opportunity, really screwed with my head, and I wouldn't sleep at night because I would just be wrestling these songs to death, and I wouldn't rest until they were right. And I really didn't live in the moment, because every show we were picking it apart, and was it good enough, and so on and so forth. And a lot of people ask me, why don't you pick up music again? You were so good at it. You had such good albums. And if you're interested, you can go check them out on Spotify. The band's Whitfield, Whitfield. There's 2 albums there on Spotify, I think, and iTunes. Anyway, a little self-promotion there. And in my head, I'm like, I don't want to, because that I cannot crack the lid of that amount of pressure, stress to my, I don't know if ego is the word. I'm still trying to grapple with what the ego is, but just this push and pull, because really what we set out with one mission: to be successful and to make a living doing music. And anything less than that, we were failing. And so doing music for fun has been something I've had to discover. It hasn't come easily to me, because it's always got a goal. And so I have to be very, very careful about how much I get into. I get really obsessed. And so I have to really hold things at an arm's length. And so the same thing is, I'm noticing with this potential YouTube channel. I'm following people that are making serious money, doing what they love, living off grid. And it's enticing. And I know that I have the potential to do that with the situation that I'm moving into. But I wonder, and this is just a question, when you have thousands of followers and you're filming, do you see everything situation in life through the lens of this would look great on camera? Oh, before we go and do this, before I take the garbage out, I got to set up the camera and film it properly. Do you start to see everything in life through that lens? I picture myself receiving some lumber and I want to go and shake the guy's hand and say, hey, how's it going? But no, I got to get that on camera. So I have a camera in front of me between myself and the driver. And so when the driver looks at me, he's thinking, I'm not connecting with this guy. I'm connecting with the people behind the phone. And how deep are those relationships? I would assume that if you have thousands of followers, you feel like you have a community. You talk to your community. They comment on your YouTube channel. But if you got sick tomorrow, would that community be there physically for you? They would definitely be there in writing, but they're not your close community. And how building that online community, how thick is that community? How deep is it really? And I think that you could tell yourself many things. And I'm not criticizing anyone that has a successful channel. These are the questions that are going on in my head as I'm grappling with whether I go all in on it. In the last 2 nights, I haven't slept that well because I was thinking about this and I'm like, ooh, there we go. That's a creative bug. I'm getting hooked. It's exciting, but also I can't stop it. Sorry, my arms are getting tired, so I'm switching arms. And you get to see my finger over here on the left. So I wonder whether, I have kids at home and would every situation, I could keep this channel away from the family, but it would be definitely more fun if everyone saw my family. And I wonder if deep down the kids would start to resent this square box with a lens on front of it coming in between me and them. In every situation, it's like, hold on a second, let me set up the camera, now talk to the camera. And we start living our life like in a goldfish bowl where everyone sees everything. And sure, you can turn the camera off, but I would assume that you would want to get better and better content. And to get that good content, you need to let people further and further into your life. And I'm sure there's people that do it in a healthy way. I'm just asking myself, what is the driver behind doing it? Because I don't actually need the money right now. Having a side hustle would be good because my industry is going to get hit, I think, by the recession that Canada's feeling. But I also think there's something that's going on in us as humans. There's a bunch of things flying in my head right now. I'll try and get them all out to you. But I feel like we're so starved of community and friendship. I know for myself, since we've been through COVID, I never hang out with people. I don't have close friendships like that are there through thick and thin. There's something in us humans that we've been built for friendship, and so we're craving it. And then this vehicle of Instagram and YouTube has filled that void. But it's not really true friendship. Like if you wanted a true friend, you'd go into your community and physically interact with other human beings, physically one-on-one or group on group, whatever. And I think that this has, like, I watch my kids, my teenagers, who have really missed out. I think that these phones have robbed them of a healthy childhood. I watched it happen in real time where I fought them on the phone, then eventually they got a phone, and then before you know it, their whole life was down the vortex of TikTok or Snapchat or whatever it was, and it was a supplement. It supplemented physical interaction to the point now where I can't imagine my teenagers getting girlfriends and boyfriends because I'm like, where are they going to meet anybody? So this alternate world has been presented to us in such an enticing way and a colorful way that of course we pick up on it because we're starved for relationship and we're starved for friendship and we're starved for community because that's been stripped away from our culture for millions of different reasons. I mean, the last 2 years we've been told to stay 6 feet apart from each other. That does something to you. And then when they say now you can be close, we're like, yeah, I've gotten used to being 6 feet apart. So things haven't healed, and I don't know how long they'll take to heal. Probably technology crash of massive scale would force us to look at each other. So I'm looking at these things like, would this replace, now I'm moving to a new community, I have an opportunity to meet new neighbors, to meet a community, to do all of, to step out and be part of clubs and organizations, so I can, or if I got into a channel, I would then find a community on that channel, and I would feel that I could live this facade of this world, that kind of world, and I would feel connected to the people that were commenting, and obviously when you start getting money coming in, that's going to feel even better, and then you'll feel obliged to make better and better videos, and you'll have people say, I like that type of video, and you'll be pushed to make that type of video. So these are the things I'm thinking of. And also, I think lastly is our egos. I mean, we're being aware. I listen to a lot of Eckhart Tolle. I talk to my sister who's in Halifax. We're best friends. We talk all the time. And we're always grappling these larger questions about, the ego and what's the meaning of life. And we both are artists, and we both can get caught up in the frenzy of the kind of darker side of art, which is getting approval from other people. And I think that YouTube and Instagram and all these things trigger your approval need. They turn that dial up to 10, and they give you the candy, the sugar. They release it to you, and it feels good. And I'm wondering, this is another thing that I'm kind of starting to hold. I'm holding these things up as I question, because we're moving in 15 days, so it's either now or never. Like, you go all in or just let it be. And I wonder, like, when I think about living a cool, like, say I climb to the top of a mountain, I'm sure there are people that can climb to the top of a mountain by themselves without a camera or without a phone and be there with that scenery by themselves and come down and feel satisfied. I know in myself, I would want to share that with someone. Why? Why would I want to take a picture of that landscape and post it on Instagram? I would want to do that because I want other people to feel a bit jealous of where I'm at, because it's not enough. Probably is a little bit of that. Probably too that it's not enough for me. So there's a deficit there that I haven't mined out. I haven't gone to the depths of why there's a deficit there that I feel the need to have to share it with. It's not enough to just have me and creation together. I need to post it. I need to share it. And maybe I'm not comfortable in my own skin. Maybe that's part of what it is. And so these are deeper questions that I feel like I need to ask myself, because I'm going to be 50 in January, and I don't have time to make a stupid mistake. I have an opportunity here. When you're moving, it's an opportunity to reset a few things in your life. Like, I want to reset family values. I want to reset things with my wife. I want to reset, my workaholism. I want to curb it. I want to try anyway. And I think it gives you an opportunity when you're moving to do a bunch of reset, because we're not only moving down the street, we're moving to another part of Vancouver where we know nobody. And so you do have an opportunity to reset. And I kind of think this whole social media thing is, I think we should all be thinking about these things. I think we should all be wondering, is there a deficit? Is there a hole that social media is filling? Probably yes. For a lot of people, no. You're changing people's lives, but I think that I kind of see it like sugar cubes. It drops these sugar cubes of affirmation. You're amazing. We love your channel. Acceptance, community, friendship, connection. And I think that the world didn't start like that. When God created the world, he didn't create iPhones with Adam and Eve. We've created those. So if you go all the way back to how Neanderthal people lived in caves, there wasn't all of this stuff. And we've created all this stuff, and now we have to coexist with all this stuff. And you'd be kidding yourself if you thought that it hadn't affected your life or our lives, if it hadn't affected the way that the social structuring of our world. You'd be kidding yourself if you pretended it was all good and all positive. All of these social media platforms have a lovely, frilly, candy-coated presentation, but deep beneath it is something more nefarious, I think, which is money and power. The people that made it, YouTube, didn't make it just so you could have fun. They made it so they could make a lot of money, and they are making a lot of money. And I wonder what it's doing to the social network and fabric. When I look at some of these off-grid folks and that I follow, and different folks that are doing, different things, and I wonder, there's probably hundreds of thousands of people that are doing it like that, and if not better, building beautiful homes, landscaping beautiful pieces of property, and not posting a single thing on it. And I'm like, yeah, living their life, connecting to their family, connecting to their neighbors, connecting to the earth. Like I'm talking in this camera right now, in this snow-covered soccer field. I'm not taking any notice of the snow-covered soccer field. I'm not listening to my footsteps on the ground, being in the present. I'm thinking to myself, I wonder if this sounds good. I wonder if anyone will listen to it. Isn't it strange? Isn't it strange? I'm talking into a camera about how I feel it might be bad to talk into a camera. But I'm processing. I'm sure there's lots of people that have posted things like this and processed. So I don't know where I stand with it. I don't want to be motivated by the wrong motivators. If it's fear, then I will face fear. But if it's actually wise for me to take a step back, like I said at the beginning of this chat, it is like sitting on oil, but not having a drill. Do I want to go buy a drill and learn how to drill oil and then deal with all that comes along with that? Or am I okay? Am I okay just knowing the oil's beneath it? There is a story there, and I will live the story. But the world won't see my story. I'll see it, my kids will see it, my wife will see it. When we die, it's all gone anyway. It's all gone. It's not going to get replayed over. Well, it might get replayed over and over, but... So I wonder what the drivers are, and I don't know where I will end up going. Maybe I'll just post videos, not optimize them. Oh, my battery's going to... not optimize them, just have them as a record for my family to be able to look back on what we did and what we accomplished. That's what I kind of was doing with my off-grid property on Gambier Island. But I had a carrot dangled in front of me, and now I'm trying to figure out whether I take a chunk out of it or walk away. And I want to be a better person in my soul and in my heart. I want to be a more whole person. I don't want to be a richer person. I do want to have financial stability, for sure. But there's other ways I can do that would be more, I would be more present, like building an Airbnb or converting a barn or whatever that is. And actually, instead of telling my kids, don't come over here because I'm filming, have them be part of it. And I know you can say, well, they can be part of it too, and you could film, but my thoughts are constantly going to be on that camera lens. How does this translate? Not present in the moment. And so, yeah, I'd be curious if any of you guys have struggled with these same questions, or maybe I'm way out to lunch. I'm definitely not putting down anyone that has a successful channel. I'm not putting down it. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying these are the questions that are coming up in my head, and maybe you have these questions, and I'd be interested to hear your feedback on it. It's an interesting landscape, this techno world that we live in. Yeah. So there's the mountains of BC. As I said, I'm going to be 50 soon, which is a trip. 19 minutes long. I'm not boring you guys to sleep. Anyone who is close to 50 or turning 50 or past 50, man, it is a hit. It's a hit to the ego like nothing else. Watching yourself get old, watching your aches and pains, becoming more and more invisible. I heard that from an elderly person, and I said, what's it like being old? And they said, you just become invisible. Nobody notices you anymore. I'm like, whoa, that's heavy. But I'm noticing that, and it's a trip. and it's a crushing of the ego, you know, young life, being good looking, walking into Turning Head, whatever it might be, playing the field. It's all boosts the ego, but when you're getting older, your ego seems to be challenged and crunched and made small and humbled. And so moving into my 50s, I want to be a happier person, a lighter person, less anxiety, a nicer person to be around, have more friends. And so I can feel that, you know, there's a tug of war going on for this real estate. And this is one of those tug of wars. So anyway, I'll sign off with that.